All right, here we go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Planning Commission of the City of Moreno Valley. I now call this meeting to order April 23rd, 2026 at 6:04 p.m. I invite Commissioner Zeitz to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. All right, we'll now move into the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
I so move.
One second.
I'm sorry, Chair,
so, yeah.
roll call?
Oh, there we go, roll call. We can do that too.
sorry.
See who's here.
Thank you. Commissioner Zeitz?
Here.
Commissioner Taylor?
Here.
Commissioner Stefan?
Here.
Vice Chairperson Baker?
Here.
Chairperson Dejanay?
Here. Now, we can go into the move to approve the agenda. Do we have a motion and a second?
I motion.
No second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We roll call or electronic vote? There we go. Okay, the motion does carry. All right, before we hear public comments this evening, I ask and encourage everyone participating to keep their comments respectful towards others, especially towards individuals speaking. I do embrace and support the First Amendment right to free speech, including everyone's right to speak at this meeting and share his or her opinions or views about issues concerning our city. Any person wishing to speak, either under the public comment section of the agenda, scheduled items, or public hearing, must fill out a request to speak form at the door. The completed form must be submitted to the secretary prior to the end of the comment public period. During the public comment period for each item, including items not on the agenda, each member of the public who has signed up to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. The public must direct their comments to the chairperson of the commission. Let's see, now let's move into public comments. Are there any speakers?
Yes, Chair, we have 5 speakers. Our first speaker is Seth Cox, followed by Kim Askew, then followed by Lindsay Robinson.
Must have got here early. I'm number 1 tonight. Seth Cox, District 3, been in Moreno Valley, first came out here in 1977, so I've seen about everything that's happened. I would encourage the council to read a lot, okay? The 2040 plan is back out there. All the zonings out there, all the buildings changes have happened. And there's a lot more, what do you call it, zoning designations. They've got some out there called a COMU, a CEMU, all those are overlays on top of already existing zonings. And the reason I bring that up is there's another meeting going on across the way over there in the conference center. Has to do with SP 204. I'll take a show of hands if anybody up there knows what SP 204 is. You should. You've been here a long time. SP 204 is the Sunnymead corridor from Pigeon Pass Road to Paris. Goes approximately on the west end, about 2 blocks north and south of Sunnymead Boulevard. As it gets further closer to Paris, it dips down and goes about 4 or 5 blocks south. Okay. They have this southern portion of it, they split it up, the main corridor, they left the same, all right? The SP 204, they put an overlay on top of it called COMU, which is community multiple use, or over the VR. Used to be village residential, now it's got an overlay. They've increased it from R15 to R20. All right, sounds great. Okay, the incentive, the story they're giving, they're trying to give the residents their incentive to develop their own properties, let them put more ADUs if they want to, and build out their own neighborhood. Okay, that's a great idea. What I perceive will happen is that property value just increased. Investors will come in and buy up chunks of that land. Their property, they maybe lived there 30 years, they're ready to retire, they'll take the money and run. Then we've got developers sitting there holding the property until it's time to build, when the economy lets them build, and they will come in there and totally use the total R20 that is there to build houses, very small houses on very small lots. So just please go read, understand the new changes, because things will change, we'll say within the next 6 months, whether it's you on the board or somebody else. They better buckle their seatbelts, because there's going to be a lot of changes and a lot of developers.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kim Askew, followed by Lindsay Robinson, then followed by Daryl Terrell.
Hi, I'm Kim Askew, and I live over there. I'm not even sure of the district, but I live over in Villa del Lago. And really, I'm just here. I'm not even sure of the process, definitely not as versed as the one before me, but just to give my opposition to possible planning projects that might be on the pike. I would really like to not see in our city any more dollar stores, any more tire repair, auto repair stores, any car washes. I just think we're full of those things, and I think I would like our planning commission to look for other things. Like in particular, why push out a Jose's and put a McDonald's when we have tons of them here? Like, how about bringing things that we don't have in this city already? Or maybe something that might be better for us to eat as opposed to a McDonald's. We have access to the McDonald's. They're building a new one on my side of town. And so I'm just here, like the things that we already have an abundance of in our community, can we not bring any more projects like that? That's all I'm here to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners, staff, and especially the public. This is for you. I hope you all remember back to last October when you were forced to vote on the general plan update without having all the information. That was totally wrong, plus you were not allowed to recommend changes, which was a violation also. And then they took it to the city council, and they pulled it because the city council didn't have all the information that you were forced to vote on ahead of them. That's total disrespect of you guys, and you're one of the most important commissions in this city. Additionally, I hope you watched Tuesday night's meeting where they voted without having the truck route and other information. Plus, they were lied to repeatedly by the attorney and Mr. Kelleher, and they said that you approved what they were looking at on Tuesday. You did not approve what they looked at on Tuesday. It was completely different. It was revised, updated, changed the EIR, which was full of mathematical errors. None of the council members had read a single thing or a single letter. One person came up and said, "How many of you have read any of this?" None of them. It's very important that you don't rely on staff when you know they're lying. Just like, please remember when Aquabella came forward and you guys were all interested in what parks were going to be there. And you were told, well, those will come up when it comes forward. Well, you didn't get to see the presentation that the council saw, and there were no parks. Sean Kelleher lied to you. Please don't believe what he tells you in the future, and do your reading, and a lot of bad planning and decisions have been made that are hurting the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Lindsay Robinson. Our next speaker is Daryl Terrell, followed by George Haig, then followed by Luis Palomares.
Good evening. My name is Daryl Terrell, Chair Dejanay, my former colleagues and the members of the public. Last Tuesday, I was honored to be appointed to the Riverside County Planning Commission. I share that with you tonight, not simply as news, but as reflection, because this moment is bittersweet. It's bittersweet because I look back and I don't just see votes or agendas, I see people. I see long nights, hard decisions, and moments where we didn't always agree, but we stayed at the table anyway. I believe deeply that in those moments we made a difference. We faced hard issues. We balanced growth with responsibility, progress with people, and in doing so, we didn't just shape projects, but we shaped futures. And I carry that with me. As I step into the new role representing the 5th Supervisory District, I do so grounded in a simple belief. Public service is about people, real people, families trying to stay housed, young people trying to build a future here. Now, I'm gonna go off what I was gonna say, but I just wanted to say this. Mr. Chair, I learned a lot from you. Commissioner Zikes, I learned tremendous, and Joanne, what can I say? I'm just touched that it's hard. It's really hard because I put my whole life I wanted to make a difference in the city. And I did it with all of you guys as colleagues, but as family. And even those in the audience that are friends, and we had our differences, but I consider you as family too. All I try to do, the reason I wanted to be on the Planning Commission, is to give a city that people could be proud of. It's not perfect, but we still got work to be done. I wanted our kids to come home to a future they could be proud of. I always say this, and I will continue to say this to the day I die, that Moreno Valley deserves the best of everything. We don't deserve crumbs off the table. We should be a city second to none, because we're better than Riverside, we're better than Rancho Cucamonga, we're better than all these other cities. Yes, we have our differences, but the one thing we want to do is create a future that everyone could be proud of, our young people. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for this opportunity. And I really thank you, because I'm all.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is George Haig.
I'm waiting for each of you to have the email I sent planning. So like you heard on Tuesday, the city did approve the plan that was different than what you saw. One of the main points on that is a 19 points from the Attorney General. Now that'll be coming back to you, but I'm going to be given 3 minutes to explain problems with 19 points, and there's no way I can explain problems with the 19 points. What the Attorney General wrote was great. How the city is going to implement it, which was buried later in the document, there's major problems. And I'd like to be able to explain what we think are some of the major problems that planning is trying to do to implement what the Attorney General thought would be implemented. As you read here, I didn't want you to email me. I sent this Sunday night, as you can see. Please find a way that you can contact me so that we can have a conversation about those 19 points. There's no way I can cover those during the 3 minutes I will be allowed. There are major changes. The mitigation monitoring plan, you should have been involved in that and had your say on it. The 19 points you will have later, but that's after the fact. You should have had it as part of the decision of you wanting to approve the General Plan Update Climate Action Plan. Letters. Last two major letters I sent to the Planning Commission had attachments and links. They were going to be handed to you at the start of the meeting. No way can you look at links and attachments at that time. I had to go to a council member who in turn went to the city clerk in order to try to get those to you. Your staff should forward anything to you within 24 hours that a public person sends them to you on a project. And maybe you can ask the city attorney if he agrees with something like that. The meeting that's going on across the hall should never have been scheduled at this time. That's one I would have gone to. But I can't because of this meeting. And I wanted to talk to you about what I sent to the city of how I wanted you to contact me without using your own email address. There's no binder over there. I wanted to look up the project, and I was looking at what it was given to the public, and it said, look at the conditions of approval. There used to be a binder over there with all of that information. I couldn't look at it. I wanted to know what the conditions of approval were on the car wash. Why isn't there a binder there for the public? It would inform me much more than what I have right now.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Luis Palomares.
Pack meeting on Tuesday, the council meeting. A lot of things were on the agenda. One, the general plan. We've been in the desert for so long with this general plan. It's time to just go forward. We're not going to get everything we want, but we're holding the city up from doing other things that need to be coming here, like more jobs, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm glad it finally going forward. There's some kinks they got to still iron out, but let's take it forward. As far as the housing on there, wow, it is what it is. My daughter lives right next door to the R10s, and I'm not happy, but oh well. It's already in the general plan, unless we're going to change zoning, and I don't think that's going to happen. So I guess bittersweet, let's swallow our medicine. That's what we got to do sometimes. We don't live in a perfect world, like, what's going on in, with this war right now. That's off the charts right there. Okay, as far as the senior housing, 150, Jim Jernigan, that's a great project. He always brings us great projects, low income housing for our seniors. We need so much for our seniors. I asked the question, how much are they going to be? I know they couldn't answer me today, or on that day, but how much are they going to be, and what's the size of them, the bedrooms? Are they going to be 1, 2, or are they going to be studios? That's a question, but I'm glad. Thank you, Jim Jernigan. You always bring excellent projects to the city. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I wish, and my prayer is that one day they could bring some more affordable housing for our families. Because, 2, 3, 4 bedroom housing, because, my granddaughter's renting $2,500 for a 2-bedroom. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So that's my prayer, that they bring more affordable housing for family. I believe on Cottonwood and Heacock, there's a nice setup there. It's good housing right there. It's always clean. It always looks great, maintained. We need more of that. We need a lot more of that. Jim, come on, Jim, bring it on. And we support everything he does because he's always been nothing but excellent and great project to our city. So thank you. And on another note, I want to congratulate the commissioner here. Now he's in Riverside, Daryl Terrell. Congratulations, Daryl. Nobody's more deserving for that seat but you. And thank you for all the work and everything have you done here for our community, because you're always on the ground floor, always working and making it a better place for us to live. So thank you, Jim. No, I'm thinking of Jim. I'm still in Jim. Thank you, Daryl, for all you put into our community and our city here. And as far as the commissioners here, I think you're doing a great job. So like some of them suggest, keep on reading, go through all the fine documents, look, see what you see there. And thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Rebecca Perez.
Hello. I've lived in this city my entire life, and now I have 2 kids here. So I actually was originally coming to this meeting regarding the Ironwood and Pigeon Pass Plaza McDonald's situation, but I understand that's been postponed. But there is something I do want to bring up is I have noticed that some cities in our surrounding area in the Inland Empire have started projects like a community garden area where people can go and kind of like rent a plot of land so that they can grow food in maybe areas where they don't have a backyard or they don't have enough space to grow food. And I do think that that would be a really beneficial project that Moreno Valley could take on for its citizens. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no more speaker cards, Chair.
All right, thank you. All right, let's see, where are we? I was taking so many notes there. All right. All right, the next on the item on the agenda is the consent calendar. We don't have any items on the consent calendar. Non-public hearing items. All right, here we go. The next item on the agenda is item number 1, a continuance request for a conditional use permit, PEN 250136 in District 2. Do we have a staff report?
Good evening, Chair and members of the Planning Commission. I'd like to introduce and please welcome Regine Kennedy, our newest principal planner.
Thank you, and good evening, Chair and members of the Planning Commission. Regine Kennedy, your newest principal planner. The applicant has requested a continuance on the item to a Planning Commission date to be determined, and the City Attorney's Office concurs with this request. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't think we have any questions of staff. So, all right, do we have a motion and a second?
A motion to continue?
This is a motion to continue to a date uncertain, which
Right.
means that if we do bring it back, we'll have to provide public hearing notice again.
Absolutely. Okay.
If we could take a roll call vote, please.
Mhm.
Commissioner Zeitz?
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefan?
Yes.
Vice Chair Baker?
Yes.
Chairperson DeJournette?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion does carry. Next item on the agenda is item number 2, which is a plot plan, PEN 220193 in District 3. Do we have a staff report?
Thank you, Chair. Associate Planner Gabriel Diaz will be presenting the item.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. The project is located just to the north of the northeast corner of Dracia and Paris Boulevard. The project site is currently vacant and is approximately 1.33 acres. The applicant is requesting a plot plan approval for the development of a 4,150 square foot car wash building with vacuum stations, parking spaces, and landscape improvements. There is a total of 32 parking spaces being provided. The project is within the community development, the commercial CC, community commercial development zone. There are driveway accesses. The main driveway access is via Paris Boulevard. There are secondary accesses versus Dracia to the south and Atwood to the north. There is a minimum 6-foot decorative block wall required and proposed on the north and east property line adjacent to the existing residential. There is also an additional 20-foot landscape setback on the north property line and east property line adjacent to the existing residential. The project as proposed is consistent with the municipal code requirements. The applicant has provided some colored elevations. As proposed, the architecture is a modern commercial design featuring a high mix of high-quality materials and distinctive architectural elements. The car wash building height is approximately 21 feet in height, and the vacuum metal canopies are approximately 13 feet 9 inches. The car wash building exterior finishes include smooth stucco walls, wood texture siding, decorative windows and doors, metal awnings with a modern gray color palette, resulting in an appealing project. The floor plan consists of a car wash tunnel, managers and operation offices, storage areas, and restrooms. Environmentally, the proposed project has been evaluated in compliance with the criteria set forth in the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines. An addendum has been prepared to the initial study and mitigated negative declaration for the original project, and which was certified and approved by the Moreno Valley City Council on December 15, 2020. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve the plot plan for the proposed car wash subject to the conditions of approval. There has been no public comment to report. This concludes staff presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any commissioner questions for staff?
Just curiosity and for public knowledge, how many excuse me. How many car washes do we currently have in the city?
23, we have, we looked at the business license records and we have 23 official business licenses for car washes.
And how many more are, say, in the pipeline?
We have currently 6 entitlements in the works, including this one.
And who does this one, who is the actual owner of this one? Do we have that yet?
We do have the applicant here who can.
All right, now I can ask that then.
Okay.
That's not a problem. Okay, and I guess my next questions will be, is it possible on the 6-foot wall that borders the housing to what, the north and the east, I believe is what it is it possible to make maybe a larger wall or a sound type wall to hold off the sounds of the vacuums and the car washes from that neighborhood? Would that be something feasible that could be done?
That would be up to the applicant to agree to, but the minimum requirement is 6 foot, and it is a decorative block wall, and there has been a noise study associated with the project and reviewed There is no additional noise mitigation required per the noise study.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other questions? My question to staff would be this, and my understanding is it is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it beyond the preview of a planning commission to make a decision of how many car washes we can have in the city?
You mean place an absolute limit? The traditional way of doing it, actually you can, but the traditional way of doing it is through zoning. It's through your zoning regulations and zoning categories.
Correct. Right, but I guess meaning to say that as a body, we couldn't just say, well, there's already 23. I don't want 24. Is that within the confines of the planning commission decision-making process?
I would say you'd have to tread very carefully in the context of a public hearing that's pertaining to a particular proposed project. Because the applicant is entitled to have its application process pursuant to the rules and regulations in place at the time that the application was deemed complete. So if that project was zoned properly to accommodate a car wash, then you would have to come up with valid findings to justify denying that particular project on that site that's zoned for a car wash.
And that's what I'm getting at, not just there's already
You can't
10.
retroactively apply
Correct, right.
numerical limit.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question for the attorney. I believe that the only way that we could even have not as many come in, we could put a moratorium on it, but it wouldn't be us. It would probably be the city council. And then later they could remove the moratorium if they saw that there was still a need for them.
This planning commission can submit a recommendation to the city council for a
Oh,
moratorium.
we can do that?
Yeah, you can't decide on it, but you can make
Yeah,
a recommendation.
because if it's zoned for it, so I understand that, but wasn't sure if we could or if the council had to do it.
Yes. And just keep in mind that with the moratorium, it basically has to be based on, on a situation where staff is studying the issue.
Right.
So we need to place a hold on those type of development projects until staff completes its study and presents its conclusions to the Planning Commission and City Council.
Would it even, would they even take into consideration, let's say, public outcry? Like we had somebody come up and say, we don't really.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So at least the public would know that. Okay.
Okay.
And because we have to, I think it's safe to presume when somebody comes in and complains about too many car washes, there's specific issues that they're concerned about, like traffic or circulation, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Are there any other questions for staff? Okay. All right, we will now open the public hearing at 6:37 p.m. And at this time, would the applicant like to speak?
Good evening, Planning Commission staff. Thank you all for your time this evening. I also wanted to thank Gabriel Diaz. I know he's been on this project since we originally submitted our application back in 2021. The previous proposed use that was approved for the project was for a QSR with a drive-through. We felt as though a car wash use would be more of an adequate use here. In terms of the site specs, to reiterate some of the things that Gabriel said, it is 1.33 acres, the 4,150 square foot car wash facility, allowing for 23 vacuum stalls. In terms of traffic, we have prepared and provided a queuing analysis as well as a circulation analysis and a parking analysis. I have Robert Vu here, who is our consultant with Urban Crosswells that did complete the analysis to answer any further questions that you might have on that. In terms of a noise buffer, we are proposing a 6-foot wall on the northern property line as well as the easterly property line. That wall also goes up to 8 feet along the car wash side in some portions of it to add more of a noise buffer for the site. In terms of a direct kind of trade analysis of the area, it is about 60 to 75,000 people within a 2 to 3 mile radius. That allows for about 45,000 to 60,000 vehicles. There are about 2 comparable express car washes within that kind of direct trade analysis, which is about 25,000 vehicles per express car wash. Anyone else that's not doing that is doing at-home washes, which can lead to untreated water going into storm drains, which can be more of an environmental impact. As I have Dionysius here with LSA, who was our CEQA consultant that did the ISMND on this project, that could provide more context on that as well. With that being said, a healthy average for express car washes is about 6,000 to 10,000 cars per wash. A strong demand would be about 10 to 15,000 vehicles. Right now, with 2 comparable washes here in the area, it's about 25,000 vehicles per wash, which means that there would be about 15,000 plus vehicles that would be underserved within this direct trade area per our analysis. In terms of water usage for the site, about 80 to 90% of the water is going to be run through an 8,000 to 15,000 reusable reclaimed water system. Where the water, it's a closed loop water system where it goes into trench drains. It's then cycled through an oil and water separator, which then goes into settling chambers where it separates any grit or sediment from the water. This is then stored in partition tanks, which is then funneled back through after it is cleaned into the pre-soak arches, the high pressure system, and the undercarriage sprays. So with that being said, I would like to open up any questions to the commission that you guys might have.
How many people are you going to employ?
I think our proposal on our operational statement was about 20 to 24 people. And the hours of operation for the site are 8 a.m. to 7 p.m.
I have one. On the, get my directions going. North side, west, you show like an alley behind the, what kind of speed control basically are you going to have in there? Are there going to be speed humps?
I'll have to check. I'll have to check with our traffic consultant on that. We will be conditioned to do all of the improvements going out to Atwater. So I think right now it's just dirt and gravel. We will be making that an entire roadway of paving that goes out to the street there. So we will be kind of increasing that area in terms of the improvements in themselves. But I mean, we could look at that within the traffic analysis to see in terms of speed control.
Because it will be a little runway for all the little rocket cars that come out of there.
Right.
And being that close to the houses, they'll be on it and it'll be loud. So I mean, I think it would be something to really seriously consider.
Yeah, we
slow down in there.
Okay.
And safety too.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I would like to know, have you had anybody in the area itself that live in the homes, had any discussion with them or anything?
So I actually went out to do a site visit myself. This was maybe a year or so ago. And while I was there on site, there was a direct neighbor that actually came up and was talking to me, and he asked kind of what we were proposing. And I did tell him, and he actually offered up a portion of his property if we wanted to make the site a little bigger. So he didn't give me any pushback. He actually said, he said, I thought that's a great idea. If you guys want to make the site a little bigger, I got a piece back here I can carve out for you guys. And I told him, I appreciate that, but I think we're okay with what we were working with. So I haven't had any direct outreach myself. That was kind of my only interaction with them.
Gay, I heard you mention in doing your studies that there was about 15,000 underserved.
Yeah, there's about 50,000 vehicles in this area. So it's about 15,000 plus vehicles that would be underserved. Because if you look at, a healthy car wash would be 6,000 to 10,000. Anything with a strong demand is going to be about 10,000 to 15,000. So if you're looking at about 45,000, 50,000 vehicles, there's about 15,000 plus that would either, resort to at-home washes, which, like I said, that can lead to untreated runoff into storm drains. But yeah, that's kind of the direct trade analysis.
Okay. And so my understanding, and this is just my general information about this, is that as Moreno Valley puts up apartments, those people need to wash their cars. And as we put up 170 units over here, or 200 units over there, 300 units, they got to go somewhere to wash their cars.
Correct.
Where people that have their homes can wash it right in their driveway. However, those homes, whatever they use, whatever chemicals they use, or that sort of thing, just runs off into the street, runs off into the driveway. Where, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you have a car wash, it says water gets, it goes to the drain, it gets separated, it gets, before it runs out.
Correct. So yeah, it just recycles it. So it'll go through 8 to 15,000. It's the full gallon tank system for the reclaimed water system that it runs through, and it'll basically get cleaned and reused and then repumped back into the car wash as clean water once it's separate from all the contaminants.
So that sounds like it's environmentally safer than.
That's the plan. Yeah, correct.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We will now move into the public comments. The clerk will call upon each person who has requested to speak. Remember that we have 3 minutes per person. So as you speak, I kind of just peek over there at the timer as you go along there. It should be right there on the screen next to you. Do we have any speakers?
Yes, Chair. We have one speaker, Seth Cox.
Evening again, council, staff that did not get introduced tonight. I apologize to you, okay? I'm against the car wash. I'll put that up front, but it's not in my backyard, all right? I'm District 3. That's whatever district over there in Paris. So, but I would like to ask, thank the gentleman there that gave the briefing, Gabriel. Is that Gabriel? Okay. His and my numbers match pretty well, all right? I had 4 to 6 in the works. He said 6. I would give you a little history on car washes. The way I only use the business license database that's out there. Okay, they've been collecting this since 1991. All right, since 1991, there's been 129 licenses taken out for car washes or detail businesses. All right, out of those 129, going back that far, we only have 39 active licenses, and about 13 of those are what I call corporate car washes. Those are the big guys, the ones that's U.S. based. And whether it's enough or not, I'm not here to make that judgment, but I don't necessarily like the drive-through car washes because the cars queue up there. They stay idling until they get through. They idle through them. They're not turned off. You got fumes coming up, and right next door are communities. So with that said, I'll go to the next subject. I would like someone to explain to me what revenue the city gets from the car washes. Okay? Because they really, I don't know if this one is a subscription type outfit or not, where you can go out, get their app, go out online, pay for the subscription, and none of that revenue ever hits the city. Our little taxes we have on all the businesses and all the things that are bought in the city and everything, I don't believe we see any of it. So I think it's a one-time upfront diff funds, whatever we collect for them to build, and that's it. I would like someone, maybe, and if I don't find it out now, I did sign up to learn more about the city later this year, and hopefully I'll get selected to go learn how the city runs. Thanks.
Thank you. Do we have any other speakers? There's George.
Sorry, Chair. My order got messed up, but our next speaker is George Haig.
Good evening again. I do hope you somehow contact me on those 19 points. This is a conditional use permit project. hopefully you go to the city's own site and they'll tell you what you can condition this project. It doesn't fit in without special conditions that you can put on the project. Can you put an 8-foot wall around it, in your opinion, to protect the residents? Yeah, you can say that. And much, much more. You can also put conditions on the noise. Right now, when they do a noise study, they average it. That means there's dead sound and then there's heavy sound, and they average it. You need single event noise sounds, so you hear what happens in a single event, not when it's averaged out, because that's what they normally do. Lights from this, the people's houses that back up, I'm sure that's their bedrooms. They can just leave the shade up and do reading in their bed from the lights from this. You need to somehow restrict the light pollution that's going to impact these neighbors. There also seems to be a little piece of project there on the corner that doesn't seem to be part of this, and yet it is part of it. I'm not quite sure, that little corner part. Noise, you should be able to maybe somehow get them to only open up the vacuums that are furthest away from the homes first, instead of having the ones closest to the homes being perhaps used first. Somehow graduate it down to the ones closest to the homes. Put requirements on this project. There's one city who put a requirement on a huge project that did not have a grocery store, and they were in a desert for groceries, and they said, we're not going to put you in this conditional use permit unless the grocery store was part of the project. That was their conditional use permit requirement for that project. You can put on heavy requirements as part. One of them you should ask for always, in my opinion, for conditional use, is for them to come back to you in 2 years to see if they have satisfied everything that was supposed to be done. You can require them to come back and show you that these things have been done, and if not, you can update your conditions on the project to improve what is impacting the neighborhood. These are things that could and should be done. I wish I had the binder to look at more of it. That's something that's a major problem here on this project. I will end with that, but please, when you have a project like this, go to the city's own site and see what it says on conditional use permit.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Rebecca Perez.
Hello again. I would just like to say I'm against a new car wash. I don't live in that area. My mom lives close to that area, but I don't think that we need another car wash. I know that the car wash recycles water, but it can't recycle all of the water. And I do think that water is a really valuable resource. And I think with 23 other car washes using water, that we don't need another one. I think we should be planning smarter ways to use our resources than people washing their cars. I also think that when you say that there's going to be 24 people employed, that's kind of a misleading number, because it's probably more like part-time employees that aren't getting any benefits, any insurance, and only 12 to 20 hours a week. So I don't know that it's actually doing a lot for the community when it comes to like job creation. And the water is actually my biggest thing, but for those reasons, I'm against it.
Thank you.
Also, the developer or the person who's going to own it, do they live in the community or live around the community? Because that's a factor. Because most developers come in and develop and they don't live in the community that they develop, so they don't really care what happens to the people around the development.
Our next speaker is Danette Brown.
Hello, thank you for allowing me time. I'm Danette Brown. I'm a homeowner in the community, not in that direct community, but I want to be clear that I am against another car wash. I think it's been said many times before, there are several specific type of businesses that are just abundant in our community, and I think if we want to provide the diversity that's needed for a really bustling community that can grow, I think we already have enough of car washes. I thought initially when I came in here today that there were 15, and now I'm learning there are 23. I'm really against it now, but I think also that if that were my home right in back of that, I wouldn't still a 6-foot or 8-foot wall and all that noise and all the people and the traffic. I wouldn't want to be the owner of the home in back of there. I understand about the water. That's a nice thing, but I think our city is small enough that with the other 23, there's one that's not so far to drive to, that we can utilize as well. And I mean, like with the type of diversity I think we're looking for are nicer restaurants and healthier fast food type restaurants or other type businesses that we don't even have access to right now. We just want to have we can look at models of other cities that are doing really well and look at the balance of the type of businesses that they have in their city, and maybe we can kind of use that as a template for our city. And I'm not against car washes in general, but the amount of the same type of business, auto repair stores, dollar stores, fast food restaurants, and hardly any of them are healthy restaurants. Car washes especially, it doesn't seem to be taking us in the right direction. So I'm against it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Luis Palomares.
Wow, this is a hard one. Luis Palomares, community activist. I'm always pro-growth, tax dollars, revenue, jobs, all of that, et cetera, et cetera. I believe on that. Down Paris, there isn't any car washes. I know there's a lot west of I'm tired. Heacock, but I don't believe we have anything right there. As far as, I got a big bang out of the guy said, wow, I'll sell you some of my land. And he lives right there. Maybe they should build a bigger wall. I'm not against it or for it, but I mean, you guys got a hard decision today, and you got to, dot all your T's and dot all your T's, cross all your T's and dot all your I's. I'm telling you, I'm tired today. But let's see what you're going to do today with this one. So good luck. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Lindsay Robinson.
After listening to the other people and the presentation, my concerns obviously are the jobs. Like the one lady said, those can't be 24 full-time jobs because most car washes have 2 people or so at a time unless the manager's in the office. My other concern is something like this would usually generate a lot of residents to be here to speak for or against. So I would like to know what the outreach was to those affected residents to the north and the east, and what did they do to notify them? Was it bilingual? How many notices did they get? Because I would think something like a noisy car wash would have generated a lot of the members of the public to be here. So those are my concerns, and no revenue to the city. If car washes bring no revenue, we need revenue generating businesses and jobs. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no more speaker cards, Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right, with no more speakers at this time, we will close the public testimony at 6:57 p.m. and move into deliberations.
I'll go if you want.
Well, I think that honestly, maybe we should ask the applicant to put an 8-foot wall and not just, in a certain area. And as far as, we hear you, we hear the public. The thing is that we're presented a project in the attorney says, it's not really up to us because if it's zoned for it, and there really wasn't a lot of people in that area, and it is a 500 feet outreach. They sent notices to the people that were within a 500 feet radius, I believe, isn't it?
600 feet.
600, okay. And so if they don't really come out and they don't have opposition to it, and then we got a guy that wanted to sell part of his property to the developer, you know. And I know that area. It isn't, it's a very old area in the city. So I imagine the people there, you know, they're just glad to get something like one of the residents said. They don't really have a car wash on that side, I don't believe, of town. So maybe they're receptive to it. But I do think that we should discuss with maybe the city attorney or whoever we have to about putting maybe a moratorium on car washes, because there are a lot of people that basically kind of don't want, they want more. And I know the concept of more. I'm that kind of person, you know, you want more for the city. We all live here. I've been here for 40 years. So, you know, maybe if we don't have that kind of development that can come in, we'll get something else. Maybe we'll like it, maybe we won't, but, so maybe we should discuss something like that.
Yeah, we can add something like that to as a future agenda item. I'll have to consult with the community development.
Yeah,
director
I think it
first.
would be wise, because not only have I heard it here, I've heard it out in the community. And so I think that would be, but I didn't realize that we could do that, and I'm glad that you said that, because we should be able to discuss that. Other than that, I don't think there's any other thing we can do. I'm sure they've, like one of the residents says, they've dotted all the i's and crossed all the t's. So that's where I'm at with it.
Comment on this would be that, as far as I know, we're still running a free enterprise here. And people, if they want to put their money in, and I understand the deal on the car wash deal, but till we do the moratorium, I don't think we can hold this up at all. It's free enterprise. These guys want to put their money in Moreno Valley. I got to hand it to them. It's a gamble nowadays. It was a business. And I think it's a good, I don't know who owns this outfit, but I think it's a good design deal, and we shouldn't have any real traffic problems there. So I'd like to see us move forward with it.
Okay. Fully understand that there isn't a whole lot we can do if we wanted to stop this, if we wanted or not wanted to stop that. At this point, I think with being what we have power to do here is we, as a commission, are here to serve the public and to protect the public. So in saying that, I would like to propose, and I won't make it a motion because there's other people to still speak, is that we do a larger wall, soundproofing larger wall, make sure that we have light shields so we get no light on the neighbor's properties, and on the little strip of runway, I'll call it, that I pointed out earlier, that it is required that they build it to the point where a car driving down there cannot, say, go over 10 or 15 miles an hour, such as speed humps. I don't know what else you could do to use that, but I'd like to put that into the permit. That way it will be done. It's something we don't have to look forward to. And again, like George said, we do have the right to ask this to come back to us after a certain amount of time to make sure that they have done this. And I'd like that put in there also. But my three main things is we got to make sure we don't have a racetrack behind the people's property, and that there is a wall also on those properties so that the traffic driving by that's not on the road but next to the road has soundproofing so it doesn't disturb the people's backyards all along that road, or driveway, I guess it would be called. Soundproofing on, I believe it is the north or the east, if I'm getting that correctly. If we could raise the wall up a little bit higher, 10, 12 feet, whatever would we think we could do that, and make sure that all the lighting in there does not directly shine on the neighbors' yards. That's just being a bad neighbor to do that. I do also like the idea about the vacuums. But I don't know if we can put that in there or not. I think we can, but I would push for the first ones that I talked to if we could do that. I don't know if anybody else is in agreement. But right now, I'm gonna not make a motion because there's two other people that need to speak.
I have no comment.
Okay. I'm with you, free enterprise. I mean, I tell you what, my wife's gonna start a business, and it would be really great if we could start the business here in the city, but we have options. We can go different places, and far be it for anyone to say that because I'm starting a business, doesn't mean I care about the people in that city. I want to start a business. I want to make some money. I want to insure my family and to ensure generations to come along that if I have this business, I can pass it down to my son. That does not automatically equal non-caring about where I'm going to put my business. Also, with the free enterprise, it's kind of like this. If there's a piece of property out there, I can go buy it. I can go buy that piece of property, and I can say, hey, you know what? It says it's zoned for that, and I can go put that there. I haven't heard anybody that lives by that piece of property to say I don't want it. I haven't heard anybody say that. Heck, I've been in this city since 1969. I may not lick it, but I've been here for over 56 years. I mean, I've been here for a while, a little gray, but since '69. And I remember riding my bike up and down Paris Boulevard, and that neighborhood was pretty much there. After that, nothing, except for the over on the other side over there. And I kind of think about that. Maybe they want the lighting. Maybe they're getting robbed. Maybe they're having vagrants go through their backyard, and maybe the extra lighting might help them. Mm-hmm. You know, now that there's lighting back there, maybe there's not people walking back and forth through there in the dark doing things that they should not be doing. I don't know. That's just a hypothetical. But I haven't heard that from anyone. There are two sides to every coin. And I always say this. And you guys have heard me say this before. You buy a piece of property, you live next to an empty field, something's going there. Something is going there. Now, I also say this too. I hear the public. I get that. I really understand. But the umbrella of the planning company is basically a advisory committee to the city council. There are some things that we do have the final say so. But we're not the hit man. When these projects, and I heard him say the project starts years and years and years and years ago. When you see that stuff, you go out and talk to the developer. Go out and talk then. We're not the hit man to say we're going to kill this thing at this meeting. There are years to talk. There are years to do that. We have to look at the conditions of this. Did they follow the rules that they were supposed to follow? For us to deny projects, we also have to say, did they not follow the rules? Did they break the law? Or is this safety so detrimental to the public, or if it's safety hazard to the public, then we can say, okay, I get that. It's going to cause some issues to the public. When I look at a project like this, I say, I don't see that it's going to start killing people. I don't see that it's going to start a war. It's not going to start doing that. I think in general, and I've said this before, one of the people in the public said, read. And yes, we do read. But I also put that to the public too. Read. So you understand the power that we have or don't have in order to deny or approve a project. Feelings and emotions kind of don't play into it. If you say, hey, this is causing this issue right here with a safety issue, with this going on, then that gives us an information that maybe we may not have gleaned or we may not have seen. Then we can say, now we can look in that project and say, oh, I got it right here. Here's my finding that tells me that this project can't go. But I put that to the public too. Read and get knowledgeable. I see some members, like I can point to George Hague specifically, like Luis Palomar sitting out there. I could, Zeph, they read. I can hear it in the comments that they make when they come up here. They are very knowledgeable about the things that they say, and they're saying things right out of this. So there's my 2 cents on it. Look, like I said, 1969, raised my family, been out here, watched everything grow, love Moreno Valley, not going anywhere. That's why I wanted to be part of this. Like what Daryl says, I want Moreno Valley to have the best, but we have to do the best within the confounds of what we are able to do. And that's the bottom line. I also say this too. It would be nice for me to buy my piece of property and then control the other property across the street. That's not fair. I got to do what I want with mine, but now you can't do what you want to do with yours. Remember, people buy these properties. They buy them. And I've said this before, the reason why we are sitting here today, is because back early in the 40s and the 30s and the 20s, someone like me could not buy that project, and people would say, I don't want him. I don't want him there. I don't want them there. I don't want this in my backyard. I don't want that. We're sitting here today because now they created the laws and say we have to have hearings in order to make it fair and equitable for everyone. Not because I don't want it here, I don't want it there. That's why we're in this room today. So that we don't go back to where it was before to say, I don't want them in my yard, I don't want them next to me, I don't want them in my schools, and I don't want them, hear what I'm saying? So, anyway, I think it's fine, I think it's gonna go, that's my 2 cents, and do we have a motion and a second by any chance?
I would like, okay, just real quick before I make my motion, I am not, I'm not a fan of the car wash, but it's legal to be there. If they want to put it in, that's great. Our job is actually to make it acceptable to people and make it better for our residents. So in my motion, what I'd like to add to the condition of approval is that they put a minimum of 8-foot wall fence bordering it. Also, that when the improvements are done on that strip, that there is traffic flow conditions that will limit the speed to under 15 miles an hour. I think those would be adequate to add to it. It would not be that large. They're already talking about improving that, so speed humps probably would not be that much more. So with those two adds to the conditional use permit, I would like to make a motion to approve.
First of all, before there's a second on that, I'd just like to comment on the wall issue. So what I heard from staff is that we don't have any evidence of having to raise the wall to mitigate any sort of impact, so that would have to be agreed to by the applicant.
And we do already have an 8-foot wall on the east property line already, according to the plans.
Okay.
And as far as the traffic calming devices,
They're already included in the plans as well. Speed bumps on that area.
Okay.
and I don't know if that's sufficient to slow the traffic down to no more than 15 miles per hour. That's something our traffic engineer may be able to address.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's what I was looking for, was speed bumps, and make sure they were going to be there, that this wasn't gonna be something.
Yeah, there's a type of traffic control on that area.
Okay. Then what I will do is withdraw my two conditions and motion for approval. As stated by our planners and the city.
It should be appropriate, just a motion to approve
Yeah,
or adopt staff's recommendations.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you
No,
have it
just-
up there.
All you have to do is, I have motion to approve by planning's recommendations. No, you don't. Ask the attorney, was that sufficient?
That's sufficient.
I'll second that, whatever it was.
You're adopting staff's
Yeah,
recommendations.
I'm adopting
Adopting
staff
staff's
resolution.
recommendation. Okay. Motion and second. Sounds like, okay. All right, do we have a vote? All right, it looks like the motion carries. Do we have a staff wrap-up?
Thank you, Chair. The action on this item is final by the Planning Commission unless an appeal is filed within 10 days to the Community Development Director with the appropriate fee. Thank you.
All right. The next item on the agenda is other commissioner business, and I don't believe we have any other commissioner business. Therefore, the next item on the agenda is staff comments.
Thank you, Chair. As you all know, Commissioner Daryl Terrell has sent in his resignation as Planning Commissioner as of April 14th. Commissioner Terrell has served the Planning Commission since August 13th of 2023. And I just want to express how staff is very grateful for his service to the commission. Thank you. That is it.
All right, the next item on
Yes.
the, oh, go ahead.
I just have comments about the general plan update.
Sure.
So what you're going to be seeing soon, I don't think we picked a date yet, but we're bringing back an ordinance for the Planning Commission to review, and it's going to be, we're going to present it to you as a public hearing item, which means we have to provide 20 days advance notice of the Planning Commission hearing. And it's going to be an ordinance that's going to encompass all of our mitigation measures that we negotiated with the Attorney General's office that pertain to their air quality mitigation measures that apply specifically to logistics warehouse facilities. And as I mentioned at the public hearing at the City Council, I believe that based on the inventory of parcels we have that are currently zoned industrial that can be, technically developed as for warehouse logistics facilities, and based on the distance between these parcels and sensitive receptors in the community, that we are going to end up with the proposed mitigation measures that you're going to review with a de facto moratorium, permanent moratorium on warehouse logistics facilities in the city of Moreno Valley. However, since it's a public hearing, we are going to listen to comments, suggestions, criticisms about those mitigation measures. In addition, what you're also going to see is you're going to see a resolution proposing to amend our circulation element of our general plan. The Attorney General's office is aware that the city of Moreno Valley and I believe some other jurisdictions were not able to meet that January 1st, 2026 deadline for amending our circulation elements to deal with realigning our truck routes to avoid sensitive receptors. And so we've been closely working with them, and they've been monitoring our progress with respect to engaging the community on our truck routes maps. So that's coming your direction too, in the context of a resolution to amend our circulation element along with an ordinance that's going to formally memorialize and adopt our new truck route map, which includes at this point the elimination of a lot of our truck routes. So that's coming your direction as well. So it's the mitigation measures ordinance for logistics warehouse facilities, the truck route map, and the circulation element amendment. And those are all going to be presented probably around this on the same day, separately but same day.
I see. And I guess that's not a planning commission final decision. That's a recommendation of city council, correct?
All three will be recommendations to the city council.
Any other staff comments?
No other staff comments. Thank you.
All right, do we have any planning commissioner comments?
and see if, because I know there's, I believe he said 23, and then they've got 6 in the pipeline, so it'll be almost 30. So maybe we could kind of slow it down a little bit.
So I'll discuss it with the Community Development Director. So the idea is to bring back as a future agenda item for discussion purposes at this point, a moratorium. And then we'll provide a staff report that will disclose, the purpose of a moratorium and, and what needs to be in place or what sort of decisions need to be made before we implement that moratorium.
Okay.
Including directing staff to study the issue.
Right.
Once
So
we
that
start
way we can
studying the
at
issue,
least
then we
get,
can
yeah,
approve
at least we can get some sort of direction as to the whole picture, because I know, somebody will say, well, we have a lot of them, but sometimes we have a lot of them in a certain area, and another area doesn't have them.
Yeah, remember we put a cap on the number of cannabis facilities?
Yeah, but a lot of them have gone under,
Oh, no,
too.
that was just an example. When you'd asked that question, I forgot to mention that
Yeah.
yes, you can put a cap.
Let me ask you this, on that moratorium, does that, if we get that going, how about the 6 that's in the pipeline? Does that shut them down, or?
No.
No.
No, okay, and the same on the warehouses, whoever's in the pipelines,
Correct. The moratorium prohibits the processing or the submittal or the receipt of applications after the moratorium's adopted.
that's the deadline, okay, got it.
That's why I said that the
Yeah.
6 that are in the
Okay.
pipeline, they don't.
So, and just real quick, it doesn't have to be one restricted to car washes. We can ask for that study to happen on other items.
What?
No, I'm just saying,
Like
if
what?
it's in there and it's within our preview, I know we're talking about car washes
Yeah.
tonight, but. Right,
Yeah, they did it for the cannabis, like.
exactly, okay. Any other commissioner comments?
I'd just like to congratulate Darrell Terrell.
Yes, absolutely.
He was a good colleague, worked well with others, and I enjoyed having him up here with us. He did come up the same time I did, and we've learned a lot together. And I'm happy that he's on to stuff he wants to do, better for him, and I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, I'm real happy for Darrell. I think he's very bright. He has a degree. He just hasn't gotten the breaks, and now he's getting it. And I think that I'm just ecstatic, really, for Darrell. And it's so ecstatic that it made me get a little teary-eyed,
Yeah,
because
best of
he
luck to him.
really, really deserves this. And I think he's going to do great up there.
All right. I also would like to congratulate Darrell Terrell. We've gone a long way. We've campaigned together. We've done a lot of things. And I appreciate his comments about all of our tutelage that we were able to share along the way. Also like to congratulate our new face, our new planning, is it planning?
Official? Is it?
Principal planner.
Principal planner, not assistant principal or, no. Okay, all right. I'm just saying that from my school side, assistant principal, director, okay.
Thank you.
Out of curiosity, who is our planning official now? Is it Angela?
Angelica is the Community Development Director, and currently we do not have a planning official.
Okay. Yeah, how much do they make? Right, all right. If there's no other planning commission comments, then we'll like to adjourn at 7:22 until our next regular meeting, May 14th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Thank you.